As you can see, we've got the church here to continue on now. Mr. Postman arrived. A word of warning for anyone tonight though, or anybody possibly watching back. We have had a power cut. I was hoping to get on about 8 o'clock, but due to the high winds we had a power cut for a little bit, so I'm only just getting on now. But it does mean for anybody watching, if it does suddenly disappear, you'll know that the power has gone. Possibly won't mean that it's from my phone, but who knows. So, as you can see, last time we got our first section done. I'm just going to move it out a little bit. So we managed to get the first lot of the instructions done. Just building the towel balls on the last live. And today is doing the nave. Now, the reason we did wait for this was, I know a couple of people mentioned it. Obviously, you've got your stained glass windows here. Well, your windows as such, rather than your stained glass windows. Thank you to Jason at Barnabas Junction. And I know a few of you others did mention as well. Rob literally, I think before I'd even finished the live, went ahead and ordered me the stained glass windows. I'm not sure who would like to take a peek at them. So these stained glass windows are absolutely fantastic. Again, they're on the plastic sheeting. So hopefully we will get lights added on and they will look absolutely amazing. Now, I think they were about £7, but for anybody, again, people that don't quite have the money at the time, the other option you can do with the windows is felt tip pens and just colour in. I know a few people have done this way. I'm not sure how new the add-on kits are. So I know quite a few people have used felt tip pens in the past for this. Now, again, for anybody, if you have completed this church already and you find yourself thinking, oh, I love the stained glass windows, how am I going to fit them? Well, if you head over to Barnabas Junction, he actually on one of his lives did actually do a live on how to remove them all and replace them. Now obviously I'm quite lucky because I'd only built this bit. The window actually was starting to come away anyway, but because of the stage I'm at, it's quite easy for me to just fix this one and basically start from scratch in terms of a window. So I'm quite lucky I don't have to really go through and remove bits just to get to it. So before we go on to the nave today, I will be sorting this window out. The only thing I have noticed is windows aren't as big. You do have a lot of play with the Metcalf windows to glue on. So I am going to try and leave a gap when cutting to try and work out for this. However, as you can see, there's not a full amount of room. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. If you look at these little windows here, it won't be as much gap, but we will do our best. So for anybody working these out as well, we have worked it out. The west window is this one here. This will be our first one to go on. Hi to Kenneth as well. Hope you're keeping well. The east window here is this one over here. Your large aisle windows are these ones. And then you have two small aisle windows. They are here. Your porch is this little one down here. And these, I think, are the parts of the nave. They are here. So for anybody wanting to either build the kit with these straight off or replace them, then hopefully you can look back at this to see which one's which. I know quite a few have joined since I've started. It was supposed to be a bit earlier, but power cuts with a high wind. So if I do disappear tonight, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't, unfortunately, you know, I'd love to know for God of Thunder and get my lights back on, but I'm not sure he'll be able to do that if it does go. I do have some lights on though, so hopefully if I see some flickering, then I might be at least able to give you guys a pre-warning. And Andy, hiya, hope you're alright, buddy. I'm not treading on Barnabas's toes tonight, seeing as he did his live earlier, so that's all good, isn't it? So, as I said, start off, not sure how they've done this. I think, as you can see, it's very well protected. My only thing is I am going to have to cut it, I think, just to get that easier access. Oh no, I think he's stapled them. Yep, he's stapled them, so I can just pull it apart to get my sheet. There's always one difficult one, isn't there? Sorry guys, I'm out of the camera shot for a minute, but I'm just removing these staples. Hope people are all right where you are with the wind tonight, but it is battering our area. I think when Rob looked, it was just over 60-mile-an-hour wind, so it's a little bit windy at the moment. I'm just going to change our view slightly. I do apologise, that's the only problem with my light and items like this, is we are going to get a reflection in them, so I'm sorry if at this point you can't see this bit too well. Unfortunately, that's the only problem with these lights. So I'm the other side to avoid going on, and it's this one here that we need just to replace that west window. So we've got plenty of room down the bottom to cut. That's what I've done, Rob, but however you angle it, it's still there. The light isn't even facing me. It's completely away. It's just the material that it is and where the camera angle is. And I kind of need my light a little bit, so I will try my best at this stage for you guys. But once I've got them cut, it should be a lot easier. As I said, the only thing is the windows won't be as big with their sides in, so I'm just going to try and get in between so both of them have like kind of even cutting. I think, as people know, they're not as easy, these plastic sheets, to cut, are they? It can be a bit of a pain in the behind. So very careful with moving. I find no matter what I do, there's always that slight movement with these sheets. What I like about this mat I've got is you do have the lines underneath just to try and get it in the middle. Unfortunately, you just lose that slight track of where the sheet actually is. This one I can go down all the way. That's not on at the top, subtle. Just bear with me, concentrating, guys. Makes my head hurt, you see. I'm going to actually use that line there because that's enough room for my cut. This is when I don't want my lights to go out. So if you see, I have left as much room as I can, but there's not a full amount to. I'm just going to keep it protected I said, doing the Nave, I think these are the ones we're going to be using tonight as well. This is the finicky bit, I suppose. I'm just going to look at my length. That's a little bit too long. I think as well, I might need the tweezers when it comes to this bit. It won't be so bad when I'm building it up, but just to replace this one actually. Line it up roughly where the picture is. There is a slight size difference, but I'm imagining with cutting a window and things, it was just what was needed. But I'm just going to try and get the top because it does line up pretty well. So I am going to get that top bit. As I said, it is a bit fiddly, but I think the effect is well worth it. We've seen a couple with them less up and they do look amazing. Ah, Delph, very good evening. I've just seen that you've popped on as well, so. I think that's a British thing to do, isn't Rob? Just complain about the weather. So, as we've seen for those just joining, I had put my west window in the last one. For some reason I hadn't stuck it out well. It did come off, which actually worked handy for me. Now, some of these as well have the lines up on the window. But let me get my tweezers, because I think because I've already built it, I will need the tweezers for this one. I've got a lovely little set of tweezers, I think Amazon. I've got a few different types. Like about these ones, because you don't actually need the pressure on to keep it clipped. It's for pressure to remove it. So this sticking malarkey could be interesting with this one. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of fun, guys. But hopefully the rest of it should be a little bit easier. Maybe I should have done this one off alive. As you can see, cutting does need to shorten. It is a bit too tall. So that won't be helping for where the picture needs to be. Right there. So we're going to take a bit off the bottom. So for anybody that's adding it onto your existing kit, I imagine it will be a little bit more fiddly for you. As I said, because you've already built it up. I'm quite lucky that I had just started and it's only one window I need to fiddle around with, so just take a look if this is fitting now. As I said, this is going to be the interesting one to glue on, I think. Now it's attached itself to my tweezers. I'm sorry, you might not be able to see this properly for a minute, guys. I'm just trying to get it. There we go. So we do have it roughly lined up. I'm going to go ahead on this one, I think, and just get it glued. Because as I said, it will be fiddlier. So this one, I think just for safety, I am going to use the BBA glue. It was mentioned to me on the last live, there is glues specifically for the windows. But even then, I think I would just use the PVA just for this bit, because I might need to move it around because it's already built up. But it's rocket glue window or something. So it's the good old PVA for this. This is where you probably get to laugh at me faffing around with this bit. So, like I said, again, being the PVA, I do have that slight manoeuvrability with a rocket glue would have dried by now, so sod's law, this is stuck completely to it, so I'm sorry I'm coming off screen for a minute, guys. I'm just getting this one stuck down and in place. And Rob, I think this is where I need you, didn't we say about using your phone to give a light? There we go, guys. So that is stuck on. And you can see it looks absolutely amazing, doesn't it? Just looks like that proper stained glass window. So just while I'm waiting for Rob, I can hear him moving. I am just going to look through the comments. I have a bit of static going on. Where do I have a bit of static?
Where it was sticking to the cardboard.
Oh.
Please take note of what Andy's just said.
What?
Take your time. You are coming across as quite rushing, Grace.
Oh, fair enough. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just probably excited to get it on. Just now the fiddly bit is over. I think I just wanted to get it over and done with.
Do you want the torch?
Yes, please.
I presume you don't want it dead bright, do you?
No, maybe the lowest setting. Well, what we're actually going to do, Delph, let's get that gone completely, is, which one have you put it on the lowest?
Yeah, that is the lowest.
Obviously, we've not got a proper light for it. Let's try and do this in a way. Ah, that works. Obviously, we will be fitting the lights after. But as you can see, oof, it's a bit bright, guys. Ah, that's probably the best. That is the effects. Oh.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, just a bit blown out, I think.
Did you see what Inverted said as well?
No.
That was his trade.
Oh, that was your trade? No way.
His first time here tonight, and he's just said it's his trade. It was his trade.
Oh, welcome to our channel. Brilliant. I was actually watching the Notre Dame one, and it was amazing me that was going into it. That looks better. I don't know what you've done there, but that does. Do you want to take a screenshot? I don't know if you can while I'm to try and the top two, isn't it? Yes. So at least we can keep that. And so there we go, guys. We will post it on the community page as well, but it just gives you that added depth, even more, that more realistic look. I am quite happy with that, but even that it's not lit up, it does look amazing, doesn't it?
So come on, Inverted, tell us a bit more. Grace and I have both got a massive interest in churches with our photography.
Only thing I'm going to try is glue a little bit here. That's the only thing with this, guys, isn't it? Because it's already stuck in, it's a lot harder to fix as such. So I'm so glad we found out earlier in the build of this and right at the end. I've noticed a slight lift in there, so I just added a bit more glue just to make sure it's fully glued down. Because obviously once this is closed, it's going to be a lot harder to get to. You can see even from this side, guys, the light, that's another good look at it, I suppose, as well, guys. That is your view from the other side as well. Well, we won't see in the church. I suppose it back. Taking a screenshot that failed. Rob was a lot better at that than me. But I think it does work extremely well. So hats off to the guy who made these kits. I think by the looks of it, it is photos that he's chopped down and done, and it really is brilliant. So I'm looking forward to doing the rest of it now. and it works really well with those wooden bits as well. But hopefully the rest of them are going to be a little bit easier just by the fact that it's not being built yet. But as I said, if anybody has already built it, come across this video or the live tonight, head to Barnabas Junction. He did do a live. I'm sure, Rob, I've got a link we can maybe add in after or on the community post tomorrow. He actually did a live build of him fixing the windows once he had already built the church completely. So for anybody that sees and think, wow, I want them but I can't, it is possible to add them in. And then inverted popes. Okay, I wandered into stained glass work by accident really. Highlight was I ended up running the team that installed the window in a corner in Westminster Abbey. Wow, that's amazing. But yes, so at least that first one is done, guys. That was, I think, the one I was most nervous about because I had already done the build. So I'm very happy with how that's come up. So we can go on to building the nave. As I said, this should be a lot easier. So the nave tonight is, and also we do have our windows. This was the main reason that we held off doing any more of a build, because of waiting for this windows. So these nave windows here on the kit are the bottom ones, and on the stained glass ones are these bottom ones here. So these are the ones. There is a bit of size difference as we've seen before. Pardon me. Now you only use 6 for these. So at least, again, by reading forward, I'm not going to cut them all off until needed. Timber Surf, I strongly recommend using deluxe glue and glaze for all windows. Sticks well and does not show if the glue is visible. Rob's got it. Quasimodo would be proud of me. I don't know, the way my back's played up and I've got a hot water bottle, maybe I am Quasimodo. The bells, the bells. Actually, it was, my dad did make me chuckle. He's at the start of dementia, so he had bad days, but again, when we were watching this build of Notre Dame, and he just came out with it. He does have his comedy, and he just came out with it, and he literally said that it was Quasimodo that caused the fire. I won't go on to the rest of what he was doing to cause the fire, but he reckoned it was Quasimodo's fault, so you never know. So we've got to start with the nave up here. Oh, you can't actually see that. The nave itself, fit the grey inner side walls. So let's get the nave cut, and then you have your supports as well. And this one actually mentions that the ends of the outer walls should be sticking out past the inner walls by just over 2 millimeters, but the edges should be flush. So hopefully can't go wrong there. This is me we're talking about, so we shall see. And I'm also going to do what was suggested to me before, a few little cuts rather than one big one. That's definitely a lot better. And put less strain on your blade. That's the only thing I found with these Swan blades. Is if you do put too much pressure on, they do snap quite easily. So it's definitely a way to avoid that as well. I certainly snapped a few blades at the start of using them. Oh, that one's come off fairly easy. And obviously all our wastage we are going to keep. Now, we've seen a couple of posts and others suggested on the last live some of these cutouts you can actually use for gravestones. So they will certainly be kept. I think these ones might be a little bit big, but I know there is smaller ones in the kits that we can finish painting up grey or colouring in grey and using that for gravestones. There is ones you can buy. I did, when we were out in the shop, I did notice there is gravestone sets, as well as the most common one I think I've seen is the funeral scene. I've just seen Andy. I can cut that out. Oh dear. So everyone else is allowed bad jokes and I'm not. Or do you guys get away with it and just say it's a bad dad joke? Now this score line actually goes up higher. You think you're cutting into it, but it's where it says to cut. So let's see if we've managed to get it off enough. But there's always one bit that still is stuck. Yep. There's always the one bit. What it actually looks like is if machines fail to cut into that bit there. I'm going to do this extremely carefully. But it's obviously failed to cut on printing. There we go. Very good evening, team. Tim. Oh, Tim, yeah, we did think that we were doing a transfer, just unfortunately healthcare, as I know you guys will probably understand, plans can change, so that one was postponed for now. So it has meant, it was quite funny, the postman this morning, your letter came off, you know, someone at the door, and then next thing went off that obviously a package had been delivered. And I don't even think I'd gone downstairs as fast as I would, even for food, because I had a feeling it was for churches. So quite rushed down the stairs. Poor man probably wondered what was going on. But it's part of a reason we've then doing tonight, because it means I can actually get on with it again. So Timber Surf, whereabouts are you then? You're saying windy here in Wales, because we're North Wales. Go via or go home. I'm not sure. Have I seen you on our live before? If not, very welcome. And I'm sorry if I have missed you before. Yes, Andy, it's starting to get a point. I'm wondering whose side are you on now. I used to think very confidently that you were on my side, but I'm not so sure anymore. I'm debating life choices, as they say. These are our strengtheners as well that we need. Again, as I said, with it being a slightly older kit, they have improved stuff. And this one does have the certain markings on them, so you know which are which. So I'm just going to go and get these cut up now as well. Let's see if that's not enough cuts. It's quite thick, this one. Go and Timber Surf. Ah, you're in Wrexham. We were, as Rob's just said, we work out Wrexham Miler a lot. We're actually there when you had the snow the last time, and it was certainly interesting. But yeah, Wrexham does cop a lot of bad weather, I think, especially the snow. There we go, let's see if I need to cut anywhere else. A few sticking points. Oh, Timber Surf. Spend a lot of time as Vermila as a patient. Oh no. Andy, are you creeping that? I think some of the best ones are from Wales. Tim, oh, Rob will answer that. I'm never good with the measurements. If you didn't know, Robin Valley, that comment is actually Rob. He comments via his own profile sometimes, especially on my lives, because he watches on the TV and things upstairs. So if you see a comment from Robin Valley, that is in fact Rob. Still got it sticking somewhere. Ah, that corner. Okay, there's one. Let's wait and see how difficult the other one is to get off. That just needs at the bottom. There's always one bit in there. It all off this side. There's a couple of corners. Oh, there we go. So we have our strengtheners as well to build. So just catching up a few of the comments and yeah, that's true, Delph. Rain is certainly as common as for sheep, I think, in Wales. Eagle Creek Railroad, is that another Welshie? Oh, and Timber Surf. I will look at that next time I cut, actually, then. Looking on the opposite side as you're cutting. So, I think, Rob, you just saying wish we would have gone N-gauge. I think it's me that would have been sorting even smaller bits. And John's was interesting as it was. South Wales. I think there's a big debate, isn't there, between the north and the south. Certain words like kutch and that aren't really liked by the northern, are they? Ah, Timber Surf, that's who yours is based off then. So me and Rob are based kind of on Wales, but not really a particular place as such. I think the closest, Rob, isn't it? It's the Britannia Bridge, isn't it? Because of your dad. So I'm just going to cut out these little bits as well, because I'm not sure how easy these are going to pop off. No, it hasn't actually appeared to have cut that well on this side. And I'm going to turn it around on this case. I don't think it went as deep as I intended, because the line is almost non-existent on the other side of this little one. It's just these corners. Tiny one now. There's a habit of not taking the tabs off. Talk of the devil. Ha! Talk of the devil, they shall appear. That's usually about me, though. Lord Alan, I hope you're keeping well. I have said, for anybody that wasn't here at the start, was hoping to start a little earlier, but we did have a power cut. So if I do disappear, or the life still goes ahead in darkness, the power will have got on me. I'm hoping it stays for now. But just after the power went, we did have a few flickering lights. So I am keeping an eye on the ones in here. But you kind of lose track when you're under different lights. So. Keeping an eye on the comments again. Oh, inverted. I'm sorry to hear that. It's, you know, I've never been through anything like that, and I dread to imagine, you know, the devastation of not just your trains, but like you said, everything. You know, it's basically starting up again, things you've had, you know, even I, the other day my mum bought stuff up clearing up, and it's little things, isn't it, you've had for years and years. I can't imagine it's an easy process, losing your home and then losing everything in it. Oh dear, we're in Olden speak, us peasants. So guys, this next bit is edges are flush to the edge. Just if you're looking at the flushness, it does mention 2 millimeters at the side as well. As I said, I'm more than worried about that ever since the fire station. I'm just shaking up the rocket glue again. I do like this rocket glue. I have kind of fallen in love with it, just from how little you need. I need to pin it again, don't I? Yeah, how little you need on it. So let's... Oh, geez, loads come out. Maybe I should have undone it before. Undone it. That was grey teas again, guys. No, it's not that I forgot to put the lid on, Rob. It's obviously dried after, but shaking it, it's kind of... I've released it through the pin and it's just all come out. Not too much though. Maybe I should have done that bit before I shook it. So, because I haven't actually used rocket glue yet today. But yes, that is one thing I do keep forgetting to just put the lid on. But as I said, it's just nice of a sheer small amount of glue you actually need. I'm getting there a lot better with it than I was. Still not fully confident, I'd say, with the full amount I need. Especially with bigger parts like this. But just to keep until I kind of dot. Oh, that's just a bubble. I do just dot a few round, just extra. I'm sure as it goes on I will get more used to it. It's one of those you don't really want to put too much and then have to suffer with it after. And we've just had a bend. So let's get these lined up because the glue is quite quick drying. And get it stuck down before it dries. But as I said, for anybody doing it new to rocket glue, you do have a small time just to play around with the movement in case you've not got it properly lined up. So you do have that small section of time to fix it and get it to where it needs to be. So it's not like an instant. I'll say it's slightly less than super glue, but a heck of a lot quicker than PVA glue. Where are we talking now? Port Merion? Yeah, Rob, you really didn't like it, did you? But then I suppose when I went, I kind of had a classic American car filling out the sounds of, so for anybody that's been there, know in one sense, a small space. So imagine a V8 growling through the whole thing. It did sound splendid. It did sound amazing. One thing I have noticed sometimes is it does bubble a bit. Rob, I don't know if it's worth... Obviously, I cannot see the light, so if we do get flickering, it might be worth you dropping a message to people and saying, we've got flickers, just in case, because I really can't keep an eye on it. Just in case. Although I don't know, is it me or has the wind calmed down a little bit? Just a touch from what it was. I'll say that and it will go to worse than it was. I'm just thinking if it does start flickering, you will see it before me, most likely. If I see it at all. Let's quickly get this lined up before it dries. That's a tip as well, just push it on the bottom just to make sure everything is lined up. And again, there's that millimetre gap on the edges. This is, I'm assuming, for when you're putting it all together. So here is a section ready for the Nave windows. Now, as you can see, I will have to be careful these do unfortunately literally only just fit window. It's the exact side of a window. But you do have a little bit of room on each, but I am going to have to be extremely careful with my cutting because they are an exact fit. So make sure I've got room either side. I will have to be careful. And before I forget, let's put the lid on the glue. Use a cotton bud. Oh, that's not a bad idea. I just worry about, because it's for cotton bud, I suppose, kind of like on one use only. Is that the only thing? As well as cutting out the windows, it mentions NC1, which I assume is some of the windows to go onto. I'm just going to find these guys as well, because that might affect the cutting size I need to do as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you on it which you need. Outer window frames, we don't need those. I think. No, that's only the one. Ah, there we go. Our NC1s. So in this section, we only need 6 of them. So there's no point getting them all out yet. As I said, we're not in the position that everything will be just kept out and left out. When I finish a session, it's for tidy up after. Just putting everything away in its place. Unfortunately, otherwise Rob would lose his desk completely. Ah, I think these are the ones people have used. Is that a kit bash you're witnessing? I suppose in a way it possibly could be. I suppose kit bashing is parts together, but it does lead me on to what I'm saying. These are stained glass windows. We have included the link. We've put our first one. Luckily, we got told in my last live, so before I finished building anything else, we waited for the stained glass windows to arrive. We will be posting a picture later on the communities page, just so you guys can see the full effects from it. If you, however, have made your church, then Barnabas Junction actually did a live replacing these with his church already built up. So if it's something you would like to do, definitely check out this video. But as I said, I was quite lucky. I'm at the stage that it was only this one that I had to do that was a bit fiddly. But in terms of kit bashing, another thing our viewers told us, and we've also seen on some of the pages, is these little window cutouts here make very good gravestones. So they are definitely being kept to be added into our graveyard. Again, there is kits, model kits you can buy of gravestones, but these are definitely a very good look for your gravestones, aren't they? So I suppose it is a mix of kit bashing and a future plan of kit bashing to come. So a bit of a mixed job there. But to be honest, people have posted photos and they do look absolutely fantastic. using these as gravestones, so they will be one of the jobs that I have a play with. Today I did do a bit more painting of some of the 3D items, but I think I don't want to bore you guys with painting the same thing again and again, so last night was just more about a chat and catch up with everyone.
Do you not think, compared to the size of the church, they're a bit small, the gravestones? I don't know.
I don't know, because other people have used them. I think there is bigger ones, but
Well, I'm just asking.
I don't know. We are going to have to measure
Do you
them up,
place
but
it against the side of that? No, against the side of the tower.
not really, actually.
Tiny.
Yeah. And look at the heights of different gravestones we've seen.
I suppose we're not all Lord Allen, are we? So
No, we aren't all
peasants
Lord
get the
Allen.
small thing.
Us peasants get the smallest of the smalls, if we even get a funeral at all. SJ Dusty, very welcome, lovely. 2 sugars, wait, what? Who's having a cup of tea? Oh, Rob forgot about his coffee and has come down to warm it up. I'm just checking out the comments again. Yeah, Timbersurf, we've seen quite a few already. It was just something that seems really recently people have been mentioning about using them for gravestones. So I suppose they're handy. They've not cost anything, and they can fit in with, you know, making it, not every gravestone is going to be the same. So hopefully they will make a nice little addition. So our Nave windows, as you can see, we have them here with our border. You've just got that natural border there to split them together. So this is where the concentration comes in again, guys. Just making sure I don't ruin it. Tim, yes, I've still got quite a bit. This so far is the only thing I've done so far in the last live. The reason it's obviously been waiting is for these amazing stone glass windows. There we go. That actually showed you guys again as well just how amazing they look. We did also light it up, but it is such a brilliant effect rather than sitting there with a felt tip pen. So, but yes, I'm doing the Nave today, and then we go on to our other booklet to make, obviously you fit in the Nave to the tower, and then the chancel and altar, and a few other bits as well. So it's quite a big kit, but I think because I do it on lives, it does take probably a little bit longer than cracking on with it myself. But to me, if it does help anybody, you know, that's doing it for the first time, I'd rather help somebody than, you know, and it's a good way for us to have a laugh, especially one of my kit builds. If it wasn't for certain people helping me, I don't think I would have done any good to. It was the tunnel. It's an old design of the instructions, so if it wasn't for a couple of people that night, it would have gone extremely wrong. So we've always said, you know, we're happy for people's input, and I was definitely grateful for the input, because it would have gone very wrong otherwise. So oh, Andy, you're from the night shift, and Valley, very good evening to you, lovely. Mr. Postman arrives, so we have our stained glass windows. That means I can carry on with the build. This is what we waited for, just to get them in, and I thought rather than fiddling around after the fact, it's meant that I could build them as I go in, which is why I did like a painting live yesterday. I'm not sure if I will do many lives with a painting. I imagine that's quite boring. but sometimes it's nice as a way to get to chat with everyone if we've not been on for a while. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's always sod law, isn't it? That would have been perfect if there had been 6 on that bit of paper. Tim itself never got around to developing stained glass windows for a church as it came. So, you know, another thing you can do apart from these kits is felt tip pens. That's another one, especially when I work with kids. Stained glass windows and felt tip pens are a brilliant effect as well. Because I realise for some, you know, it's a lot harder when you've already built it to go back. Those who were with me earlier did see how I had an interesting time installing it. So at least by now, by waiting, it just means I didn't have to cut anything out, or it's just that I had to battle with. So just trying to get a rough middle line between these. See, it's a very rough line, but hopefully it's straight with using my board underneath. We have just moved slightly there. That's the only problem I find with these kind of sheets. As you get less on it, it's a lot harder to cut without it moving. So we're just going to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, I do have 6. It obviously cannot count. I'm going to say it was that optical illusion, you know, the one that I think it milled around social media a little bit, didn't it? Things move and they suddenly become less. That's my excuse anyway. So we have our stained glass windows cut up. Finneton, very good evening. So as you see, Finneton, we've carrying on the build. Now we've got our stained glass windows to use. This is the work of installing one. The light isn't going to be on my side now, is it? It's a brilliant effect, especially once we get lighting in there. It really does look amazing. And I've got my sniffles again. I'm just seeing how I'm gluing it on, which way. Oh, it is straight on top. That's the only thing, again, these plastic sheets, they are very fiddly, aren't they? I've just got to make sure I get the right way. Okay, I think it's this way. So these are going to go on just like that. So what I think on this occasion I'm going to do is get them glued on and then cut the waste plastic away. This is going to be quite a fiddly fit, but I don't know if you guys can see in the light. It does work really, really well. So I think it will, again, definitely be the PVA for this one. Using that slightly clearer look. I'm just going to use the pin itself just to get this thin line here. Because while PVA does work pretty well, not leaving a mark, I think PVA, you can see it a touch. It has been there, so. Of course, I don't want too much in that small space. I think I might use the pin for the whole of this, actually. Because there is not an awful lot of room. And just a small dab on the bottom as well. As I said, this is definitely much thinner application. I really don't want it going onto the window as best as I can help it. Oh, way too much. Do it this way. Just get rid of that top line. So as you can see, guys, again, it is fiddly. Or it's maybe me being a perfectionist again. And I think it's hard to see once you've got them out which way it should be. But, oh! I've just sent that for a ball of chalk. Oh dear. Now let's get this stuck on it in place as well. And here is actually a line there in the middle. I'm assuming that's just helping for your guidance once you've got it on. As you can see, guys, the effect it is amazing. It is a brilliant little effect, isn't it? Watching how it goes now, we lose focus about there. But it just adds that extra to it, doesn't it? So we're just gonna let that dry before I cut it away and get glue in the others as well. So I do apologise. It's a little boring process, I suppose, with the fiddly bits. And again, figuring which way and gluing on. Right, so it's this side. So again, I'm just going to use my pen just to get this thin line in the middle. And then I can have a bit more bravery on the edges. But I still don't want to go too much.
Here is your reminder. Check heating.
And Jerry, very good evening to you, lovely. You may have noticed our new additions. Not quite for kids, but a brilliant addition to the kit. That is our stained glass windows. As I said, guys, you do have that bordering on that stained glass itself, so you can see that natural border you need anyway, which is handy. I know I have cut these a bit big, but I'm going to let it dry and then go in and cut them. That's what I mean, Delph. Even just here, the effect is amazing. So we do plan to light it up. And then in terms of the underside, in that is on this. I was reading this myself. On here, it seems that you have the, weirdly, it's showing them attached to the, where the writing is. If anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. So then when you attach it, I'm not entirely sure. Again, it doesn't give that clear a picture. Maybe Jerry, as soon as you've popped in, see, because I thought like you, but I'm not entirely sure because it still does show that gap between. Obviously, I'm at the stage that I can remove it. But these instructions, I have glued it on the wrong side. Okay, guys. Because for some reason, it's got it there. This is why I love you guys. At least I now know. This is what I do love about it. I seem to get everything backwards. And Jerry, thank you. We do have plans, hopefully, with some of the offcuts as well. Little gravestones. We've seen quite a few people have used them. So there we go. Again, with the PVA glue, it's handy that I can just get it stuck off and try it again. I don't do well with these kits, do I, guys? I seem to enjoy doing it backwards, don't I? I was thinking to myself it was wrong, but again, the pictures, because they're so tiny, even for my eyes, I was looking at it going, oh, I really don't know for sure. But that's fine. Crisis averted. Shall we try this again, folks? So again, you do have those linings up. Oh, yeah. Don't even say a word.
Oh!
But look at it. You've got, it doesn't look that clear. Even with my eyes, I'm struggling. Unless I need glasses. Defo grace moment. Yeah, that's true.
Fix the glazings to the backs of each one now. Have a look.
Advantage of the world looking over your shoulder. Yeah, Tim, but to be fair, you know, we've really appreciated these kits build.
No, I'll give you that because
It shows it.
Look it on there, you can see the writing.
All the lines you do.
And the lines, and it shows them sticking to that. Oh well.
Yeah. But as we go, guys, luckily.
Thanks to Timber.
Yep.
And Jerry again, obviously.
So obviously I did.
Jerry joined at the right time.
Yes. She just gets Jerry on speed though. I'm doing a live.
Well done, Timber. Good call, mate.
But at least with the PVA glue, it's a lot.
Yeah, they're off before it's set.
It's already off.
Okay.
But at least with PVA, I think even if, you know, it does set, it's a lot easier to pry it off. It's obviously not ideal.
I'm taking that one off.
No, I've already put it on the right way. See what I mean? Even looking at it, you've just thought it's the wrong way. See what I mean? You just flick that at me there.
So you stuck it on that side?
No, that's the side it should be stuck on.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah. So you guys, even with Rob being confused now, I really don't feel as bad. Are you Grace and Rob in my short YouTube? Oh, we're losing the comment.
Grace and Rob in the short YouTubers club. Well, no, I'm 6 foot, so.
I'm in the short YouTubers. I'm Grace size though.
Grace
yes.
is about 4'3".
Yes, Andy, actually, when you're my size, everybody looks over your shoulder. Yes, that's very true. I kind of have to ask people to reach things on the top shelf. But here we go, guys. Managed to fix them.
You have to ask people to reach things on the bottom shelf.
Sorry. Being small means I see the things on the bottom shelf. So there we go, guys. Take 2. But it is fantastic looking, isn't it?
You're like Mini-Me in Austin Powers.
And I call him Mini-Me. So there we go, guys. The proper way now. Grey stones are about 3 foot, so 12mm. Your cutouts look ideal. Oh, okay. I suppose that's the hard thing, isn't it? When you're looking at literally just a small, tiny piece, it does look unrealistic. But that's what we said. There is a mix. We go to a lot of churches with the cameras, and you do see massive, small ones. So
massive, small ones.
Massive and small ones.
So you said massive.
No, I know I did, but most people
massive,
understand
small.
massive, small ones.
Opposed to small.
Yeah, I don't think this size. I think that's a bit extreme,
That's a Lord Allen.
Yes, Lord Allen. This is one worthy of you. This is us peasants. This is just for comparison here. Although, actually, you've got a Midley as well. If anyone of us get upgraded from peasant, that's ours.
That's Jerry's.
Yeah, that Jerry deserves that. And they're talking about lights. See, that might be comments.
Ask Jerry to drop a link, please.
No problems with PVA, Grace. No, I do like PVA. I just preferred the...
Jerry to drop a link of those lights he was talking about.
Oh, Jerry Rob said, do you mind dropping a link, please? That's a G-scale grave.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? A grayscale.
It's a grayscale. That would be my grave. If I die tomorrow, make sure my grave is that size.
I'm not that lucky.
Oi. Thanks.
That's okay.
You'd have to do a YouTube channel on your own.
Yeah, but my ears would stop bleeding.
It would then be eerily too quiet for you, dear.
Is that a bad joke?
No, it would be. You'd be struggling with how quiet it is.
Yeah, you said eerily.
Do you do the correct scale greystones, Timber?
Yes, he was asking Timber a question, not you.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Yeah, don't need to read it out loud.
It's habit. Rob, did you actually put the comments on from the last live? Because I know this morning they weren't showing.
No, I know, but when you're setting the live up as someone told you, you need to turn it on manually.
But as you've seen, there is no option to do it on the phone.
Yes, there is, because I did it on this one. It's in the advanced settings.
No, I showed you the advanced settings yourself.
I did it tonight. I promise you.
Ah, no, it's probably gone because we've gone to partner now, so it's another option available because you looked and it wasn't showing, was it? Sorry, guys, we're having another domestic as usual.
Grace is wrong and I'm right.
No, I'm not wrong. You are wrong, dearest. So let's double check that. Oh, it's the only thing with the PVA taking longer to dry is sometimes you can just slip and it goes a bit tongue. Finnerton, let's be honest, would you guys, you'd be bored with our channel if we didn't have a domestic. Andy's just said, is that the kettle hearing you putting the stuff away?
No.
No, I actually made the last drink before we went on the live. I know he's slacking, isn't he?
Tell them I'm putting the dishes away from the Chinese.
Yeah, you are. But yeah, dishes away from a Chinese, so you didn't have to cook. In fairness, we decided with folks last night that no one would cook tonight. Anyone who always wears trousers is always wrong, according to the ones who don't wear trousers. Oh dear. You very rarely see me in a skirt or dress, so I don't know how that, how we win that argument. I think it's a big thing if people ever see me wearing a skirt or dress and like, you have legs.
You look better in a skirt than you would.
I know, you'd probably have better legs than me. So, technically what Timber said is anyone who always wears the trousers is always wrong, according to the ones who don't always wear trousers. You've just said you don't always wear trousers. So that means you think I'm always right.
Don't confuse yourself, Grace.
Yeah, I'm always right. So when I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong. So therefore I'm right. Oh, we've had moments like that for sure. But hey, I think an argument a day keeps the doctor away. Unless it goes to a severe argument. Obviously not with us, but imagine some people come out rather battered and bruised. Oh, I haven't seen your wife's legs in 20 years. Oh dear. Especially during COVID when we were working so much, it was constantly work uniform. That we actually have a restaurant that we go to in Liverpool, and we actually travel back to. And they'd always see me in either work uniform because we'd just like grab and go, or I think once I wore a pair of trousers. So they actually saw me dressed up and they're just like, you have legs. Delph is for bra. I have trouble with timber pinch is something horrible. Oh dear. I know, bras are a pain.
Don't wear them. Plain and simple, they get in the way.
Go commando, yeah?
Yep, so as nature intended. Free the boob too.
Oh, I love how this conversation's just gone there.
Don't blame me.
I don't actually know who started it tonight.
Well, I'm not the one that mentioned bra first, which is quite surprising if I'm honest, but
Yes, it's usually you that...
yeah, you can't blame me for taking this conversation south tonight. Yeah?
I think everyone's quite like-minded like us, so... Is it really south if all of us think it's just fine? I can't find the right bra size for my moves.
I find,
Right.
I find the knickers a problem, if I'm honest. When you get the thongs, they go right up the crack of your
You sound like that's experienced, dear.
cheese grater.
Oh, dear. Oh, at least you know, guys, when I'm doing the slightly more boring parts, there's always someone that will keep the conversation going and everyone chuckling, so...
That's very true, Jerry. After the old watershed. What was it, 9 p.m. it used to be on telly, wasn't it? The 9 p.m. watershed, I remember that. I remember actually coming
It's still
out.
in effect, isn't it?
No, I remember it coming out.
And then Finneton, I pride myself in being able to undo a bra with one hand.
One hand? A thumb and a finger, dude. Come on, don't let the side down.
I think it amazes me women have it. We can take a bra off without removing a top. And I think it amazed me the first time. Wasn't it the first time I ever did it? You were like, what?
Oh, yours then.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone wanted to know that.
It's all right. I was going to prove a point.
Oh, I'm not sure on this one. That one one's a little bit...
That's a teenage boy's boast.
He is a child after all.
I'd be very disappointed if I met a bloke who couldn't get a bra undone with a thumb and a finger.
What if I'd had it amputated? Or a birth defects and I don't have a finger and a thumb? A finger and a thumb.
That's disability discrimination.
But as you said, if any, someone who can't.
Shut up talking.
Oh dear. I'm not really sure on this one. Almost at the gluing stage, guys. It's almost done. And I love how this conversation went completely south. But you know what? It's... If you can't have a laugh and a joke about these things. At least on our stream it's allowed anyway. Too many people get defended nowadays. So guys, now I have glued these the right way. I was testing you all. That's really what it was about. Is I was purely testing you all, making sure you were listening in, watching correctly. There we go. So something I have just noticed, and I will have time to move it, is the lines in the stained glass window actually line up with the... No, they don't actually, because you've got the lower ones there. I don't think it matters too much because it gets covered. So they are all glued up. Oh. Oh, Kevin Wilson song time. Well, he is a brilliant. I think, Rob, was it Kevin Wilson that you saw years and years ago? Oh yeah, you did just say went to see him live. Honestly, Jerry, Rob was the one. He got heckled. Ah, Stuart, welcome to one of our lives. You missed a trick. You can run over the card edges to make them the same colour as the print with a felt pen. Stuart, honestly, not a problem at all. It's lovely to have you catch one. This is why we always post them after the fact anyway. So if anybody does miss them, we do have viewers from across the world. We found out on my last one. So it's lovely to finally see you here live. Mike, not a problem. Lovely. Thank you for catching him. We will catch you later. So I'm just going to... just get rid of these edges of the windows. You kind of have to, it is guesswork. So I'm just going to get rid of these little tiny bits, just so it sticks correctly on the kit. I'm just doing this extra carefully just to make sure I don't stuff up. Just bear with the concentration, guys. This looks like a Stuart. To be honest, I thought we found watch back and the first one too. Yeah, Stuart, I have done a fire station before, if you ever caught that one, and a tunnel. The tunnel was definitely, I'd say, the hardest. It was one of their earlier kits, so the instructions were definitely laid out completely differently. But thank you to Jerry, especially on that one. It was saved and we managed to get through it. A fire station, I was lucky. I did have practice with John's N-gauge one, so. And then I suppose there I also got the appreciation for building N-gauge kits. Yeah. This is a little bit fiddlier than normal in my kit though, because we've chosen to add stained glass windows. And they're printed out onto just a sheet here, so they're not actually fit to size. So definitely a little bit fiddlier. John, you've appeared. As you can see, John, they do work really, really well. So it works fantastic. And hopefully when we get it lit out inside, it will be amazing. The link as well, if anybody seeing this tonight does like these, we have included a link. I'm not sure, however, do they do it in N-gauge as well, Rob? Or is it only 00 gauge these are available in? So now we have done that, we can go to sticking these on. Oh, I've just found I've missed a bit that hasn't cut properly. Might have to do it from this side as well. I just don't want it to lift and affect the sticking down, you see. No, I missed one entirely by the amount I'm getting off. Just double check. So this is showing when you glue them in a slight gap either side, and that's, I imagine, just to make sure, bear with guys, I've locked the screen so I will miss the comments otherwise. Oh, I'm not putting my password in right. There we go. Oh, they do the N-gauge ones, Rob. That's brilliant. So anyone in N-gauge as well, they do those for purchasing as well. Timber Surf, yeah, he does offer a few other bits as well, including the sound module. Timber Surf has said you can build your own, but it depends on what people feel comfortable with doing and things like that. So obviously we're going to get these in place. So once they're in place, and even with a glue mishap, you don't really notice it. So I'm quite happy about that. It will just be a case of getting it glued in. I think I will do another gluing it and then sticking it onto it. I'm going to go back to the rocket glue for these bits. So. See, because some of these do have the residue of the PVA. There we go. I'm just going to get this stuck on. I do apologise if this goes out of view for you. Ooh, if this does go out of view for you guys for a minute. It's just making sure that I get it lined up where it needs to be, because while the rocket glue does have a slight manoeuvrability, it is not there for as long as, say, PVA glue. we did have a bit of overspill there where it just slipped before I put it on. So I am sorry that that went out of view for you guys. But we have our first one on. Rob's answered that for me actually about the back scene. Yeah, I'm not quite sure because my arty side is more pet portraits. It's pet portraits that I really do. So as for scenery, it's something I will definitely have an experiment with, but I can't say for sure how well it's going to turn out. I know people use watercolours, so that is the plan, to have an experiment. I do have some watercolour paper, so at some point I'm going to have a experiment with that. It has just been a bit manic, as most of our regulars know, with Rob's mum and everything that's been going on. So, oh, lots of overspill on this one. As I said, it's, as Jerry just said, windows are extremely fiddly. But me and Rob were quite pleasantly surprised. I can't speak tonight. Surprised that in terms with this glue, we were worried how it would dry, but to be honest, it dries pretty well. I try not to get it on there, but yeah, depending, back to the back scene, depending how it goes, if it is something I go forward with, then I will probably look at doing a video on it, just so if anybody wants a couple ideas, they can at least turn to that for their ideas. But I do need to try and get to that pretty soon. So folks are going home tomorrow, unfortunately, so might get a bit of a chance depending on work. So I found this my easier way when it comes to lining up. And as I said, because rocket glue does have a slight movement, you can move it to get it in place before it dries. It is just a lot quicker at drying than PVA. But you do have that chance to move things into place, especially something with only little movements like this. I'm just, for anybody that does build this, be really careful with your glue, because it's such a small section. Marion, very good evening to you, lovely. Marion, I'm not sure if you've seen our other part 2 the RG trains. John is also on tonight. He's on the chat. I know not everybody has had the chance to talk with him yet. He's a bit been busy going on with his extension. And hopefully as that goes on, we will keep people updated with how it goes for him. Again, I am sorry at this point, guys, if it does disappear off the stream. I think a lot of you have built these kits do appreciate needing that second just to look back and unfortunately get it in the position I need to see it to make sure it's lined up. As you can see, I find this way most effective for getting it lined up. Almost there though. Then we start building up the proper nave itself. I'm missing a... Oh, no, it's there. Now, Lord Alan, I know you seem to use this glue very well. Was there any way you found to... I've noticed I have started getting quite a few air bubbles in the glue. Whether it's because I shook it and then opened it back up. But do you have any tips yourself for kind of avoiding that air bubble? So again, as you can see, guys, I do have that slight manoeuvrability just to get it in its final positioning. No, not really. So it seems like the bubbles is something you kind of have to deal with. Sorry, Stuart, I'm just kind of catching up with comments here. Yeah, sometimes with the lining up, especially with the rocket glue having shorter time, I find that sometimes having your window staying on the ground and then putting on top of it, you kind of get... If I do this in the camera so it's a kind of view for you guys, it's kind of, you can see that you're getting it in line as you're putting it down. Obviously it's not exact because I'm trying to show you guys rather than doing it myself. But for me, I find it helped in just making sure it's lined up a little bit easier. That's why, unfortunately, I do go off the camera without realising sometimes as well. I know a few other people commented when I was doing it before. It's something they do as well. And Jerry, thank you. Oh, Rob adding moderators without asking. We've got loads of spanners around. Timber Surf, you can buy applicator nozzles that fit the end of a tube. Gives a smaller line and reduces chance of bubbles. That excellent used on super glue. Okay, I'll take a look into that. It gives you power to post links. It gives you a power. Marin, thank you very much. She said, you don't half need some patience to build these models, and the church looks like it's coming along well. I've also hit the like button. Thank you very much. So yeah, this is the thing. I know it's probably taking a little bit longer by doing it on a live, but we do like that aspect. You know, I've been in a chat with everyone, being able to catch up. And if in some small way this possibly helped somebody else that's doing the kit for the first time, you know, it might help someone not make the mistakes that I have. So more than happy to make a fool of myself on live. Oh, surely, John, you need a spanner to fix trains. My cutting board is upside down. It doesn't matter, it's just a cutting board. It's different things on the other side as well. It's double-sided. So yeah, as I said, I do apologise coming off and on the screen, guys. It's just my easier way just to get it lined up. But as you can see, unfortunately, we have had overspill on this. I'm not sure how you're going to avoid that on this one. So I definitely wouldn't be using a glue that leaves bright colours. Otherwise, that will be noticeable. There's not a lot of room there for that. So that's a tip for anybody doing it in future. What has Brian spotted? It will come out backwards. What will come out backwards? Don't tell me to do this after I've just built it. Delete if you're a bad boy. Rob's always misbehaving. Let me just I saw something about, don't tell me I've done it wrong. Finneton, no, I'm on the mat, don't worry. I can handle a spanner. Mods on many lives. No, I can't see Brian, which is we. Oh, what about me cutting the table? I didn't mean to. I don't think it did. Because as you saw when you came down, there was a gap. Overboard is wrong way round, comes out backwards. Oh, it does as well. But yeah, my board, it's actually a handy one. It's got a different... Well, that's just sticking now. I do love this. Partly because it's purple, obviously. Yes, John, you've definitely built a few. If it wasn't letting you do the fire stations, you've got your different measurements on the other side as well. It's a brilliant cutting board, to be honest. I think I've got it off Amazon. So you've got your metric on one side and your imperial on the other. So that's a handy thing as well. You've got your different sizes on both the boards. Right, I'm a bat. I'm hanging upside down. You do have bats in churches after all. Flymo, very good evening. Thank you for joining us, lovely. Now, unfortunately, bits like that do take up time. I'm sure everyone that has built these kits do know and appreciate that. So we're going to do the Nave wall brace now. And again, as we had our cutouts on the support. No, Timber, you can come from being upside down and right way up, and I just thought I'd do it deliberately. Really, I was testing you all to see if anyone would notice. Yeah, John, of course you would. You'd be on my side. That's always good. And who was apologising for not being able to always catch it? Oh, Flymo, don't be daft. You don't need to be sorry. Between FaceTime calls, obviously very busy tonight, so. And I have noticed, I think, just how delayed this is tonight. Rob, I don't know how delayed it's coming from up by you, but I know my screen's only just got me flipping it. So it is obviously quite a bit of a delay. So if I miss comments or have to go back, please excuse me. So we're getting our supports now, wherever they may be. Oh, and it's literally one. So one little one over here. Stuart, it's a lovely, this is, as I said, why yesterday it wasn't a build as such, it was painting. But we did it just as a way to get to chat with everyone. The people on here are absolutely brilliant, which actually reminds me, for when people aren't on lives, Rob, I might need you to get ready with a link, a Facebook page. There is quite a few. I've said before, some of them aren't really, you know, you ask a question and you just get ignored or nothing. Finneton Central Model Railway has actually created a Facebook page, Finneton Central. So again, the good people that are on here chatting tend to be on that Facebook page. So if you've got questions or need a bit of support, I think that's the most active Facebook page really, of people that are happy to support. So if you aren't on there already and you're on Facebook, why not head over to Finneton Central and join the group. There we go. Let me just catch up on comments. It's just gone a bit mental. I'm not always confused. 95% of the time. Brake late. Too late, Grace put windows back to front. What have I put back to front? Because the only thing I did struggle with was trying to figure, once Adam cut out, was figuring out which way. A squirrel! I saw a squirrel. This is really true, you put in that, Rob. Although he has actually bought me a lamp that's a squirrel. It's absolutely amazing. I think I've put these the right way, because if you look on the back, they're not as detailed as this side. It was very hard to tell. It's not so bad when it's all together, but to me, they're not really the easiest to tell which way. All I've tried my best. I could have gone off the lines here actually, but when I was cutting them off bit by bit, it's in terms of lining up, I've just looked at what's inside. So like this person here, I'm not sure how they would have worked on this side. So I've just tried to put it as best I can. It is definitely interesting when you line them up. The only thing I have found, which I should try and keep better track of next time, is you do get a couple of the same. So I've obviously, no, they're the same there, but these ones are different. That's a bit, so it's just trying to keep an eye on your windows as well, so you don't get two very similar right next to each other. So it's possibly that I have done one backwards. It's not the easiest to tell. I would recommend cutting them off one by one. Part of me, it's just obviously for the sake of the live, I've done it all in one go. So anybody, I would suggest to do that. So Rob, have you put Finneton's Facebook group on? Because I know he's trying to build it. I was the 100th joiner the other day, so if anybody wants to go on a really nice supportive Facebook page, Finneton Central. No, it's not. That's not the name of it, is it? It's just gone blank. The link, Rob will put the link on anyway. And I've just seen butterfly. I like butterflies and squirrels, so I'm happy with either. About to launch a new range of market stalls and products in a week or two. Oh, who's that? The window of central remote, freeing the pineapple with back to front. Yeah, I think I've just realised that one there possibly is back to front. This is the only problem. I was struggling a bit making sure if they were back to front or not, so I'm hoping you guys won't mind. But the handy thing is, because I've not built it yet, I could possibly get them off and redo it, but it was extremely difficult to get which way, to be honest. So I would recommend cutting them off one by one. Yeah, so that is the right way. I'm just saying that one's the right way. There's a couple of doubles here, so and this one is backwards. So I've done that one backwards, I think, if we look at where that should be. And comparing. Yeah, so 1 or 2, unfortunately, I've got backwards. Do you guys think it will be noticeable, or should I go back before I go any further and stick it on? What do you guys think? You guys will probably know a lot better. So anyway, we have our Nave wall brace, because it wants me to fold the walls around. I need to get this bent very gently. It wants me to start building it up. And again, making sure you've glued your supports the right way. And just stick it in there. Oh, to be fair, everyone's just saying don't worry about it, so it's won't worry about it. So obviously these fit into here. I'm just going to use one side to gauge up how far I need to bend it, just to make sure I've got that right shape, because it is slightly bigger than the actual support itself. So I'm just going to glue one end first and then do the other side. If you're wondering, I can't see the pews next. I'm sure you probably can get mini-sized ones. You know, somebody had a church and maybe wanted to cut it so you could see, and that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? But so we're just going to get this stuck on one side. As I said, I'm still getting used to this, how quick this glue dries. So I'm used to just holding it for longer. Wait, guys, you talking about rule 1? I thought rule 1 was I'm in charge. Well, Rob might disagree at that. Oh, I hear footsteps. Maybe he is disagreeing. So I let that go too quickly and it's actually dried. Yeah, I did think it was stuck, but I must have lifted it slightly there. I just needed to add a little extra bit on this side. It had lifted, so I thought rather than try and make it work together. So I'm just going to do that for sizing. Weirdly, it will need pressing down into shape after. I'm just going to head and get this side glued up as well. This bit really isn't sticking, actually. It's just come apart again. No, Alan, it had literally come apart. It's just done it there again, so for some reason it just didn't want to stick. Right, hopefully it's stuck this time. That's a bit bizarre. Let's get this side done. Yeah, that's what I did. Alan, I did just put another bead on that bit just to make sure it's stuck. So I'm just going to make sure this stays in shape. It seems to be one side doesn't like it than the other, so I just need to hold the opposite side down on this. Ah, it soaks it into the card, so is that why it didn't? Ah. Oh, we seem to be stuck now on both sides. I see what you mean, that bead is still there in the glue. Really, for some reason, it doesn't like the opposite side. There we go. That's it. There we go. There is our support brace done. So we're now going on to the nave roof. The top roof is on top of a grey ceiling G8. So another supports. This one's G8. G8 is the big one. No, not quite cut it enough. I think I'm being too gentle on it now. But I have noticed this card seems to be a little bit thicker as well. Oh, is it, John? It's funny because I've got to admit, with a fire station, I didn't really notice any differences. But it's interesting that the Engaged Church is a little bit different. So now we're going for the support. This just wants to build the roof up separately. So, God, I really need to read this one to make sure. We need the tiled roof as well. Let's find that before we move on. Porch roof, chancel roof, it's not on that one. And we're looking for brick. There we go. Nave roof. So let's get that one off as well. There we go. Yeah, that came off first time. That never usually happens. Stuart, it does mention bracing. I'm just getting everything together now. Because I think you've also got on sheet E. Stonework for turrets. No, it's not on this bit. Only thing it hasn't said is where the supports are, because they literally come straight up, and by the looks of it there is another bracing in there to add. I just need to find it. Fold the two rod supports, right angles, and brace it with... Oh, okay, it wants you to brace it with waste card. Okay, that's slightly different than I was expecting. So there is nothing specific on this one. It just purely wants you to brace it with card that we've... So in one sense, it wants you to... God, that's really stiff. It wants you to actually build up the support yourself. Oh, jumping ahead. That's usually my job. I find it interesting is just how stiff this is to fold up. I'm actually very wary of doing it so I don't break it. Because it's extremely, by the looks of this, it goes completely upright. But as you can see, it's extremely, I'm doing this very slowly because I have to, there we go. So guys, it wants you to bend it up, but then it breaks. Let's see if I can get it a bit better with there. I'll up push down. Oh yeah, I wish I'd seen that comment a minute ago. Oh no, actually, I pushed it down and now it's falling apart. I think I might just building this entirely myself, guys, because that one's on its way out as well. It's supposed to bend down. Oh, jeez. Oh. Okay, guys, that's again, I'm doing these things. Again, it doesn't give a clear of which way, does it? Other two supports up at right angle, so I had it this way. So to me, up was upwards. It doesn't actually tell you which bit of the card and which side. So for anybody doing this, yeah, look, they don't actually, they tell you that it folds up, but obviously it's very blank as to which side of the card it would be. So to me, that's the smoother side. So it does look like I was on the right side up.
Can the adjudicator step in?
Go on, what have you seen?
No, what you're going to have to do now is stick those back down.
Yes.
You're going to have to get a piece of spare card, cut a small triangle out of it, and brace them.
That's what it wants you to do anyway. It wants you to fold them up and then brace with waste cards. So that was the next step.
Yeah, but I think they meant with those bits attached.
Well, yes, this is true. It was with them attached, but that's what I'm just saying. Is again, for anybody, if you are building this kit, be very careful which way you bend them.
Don't let Grace build it for you.
Because going backwards on this card, doing uprights this way, it works a dream. But the way I've been gluing a lot of the kits on, that way was upwards for me. So,
you're going to have to put more than one brace in.
yes, if you find you guys are struggling, just try the other way before it breaks.
I think you might need to brace the other side.
Yeah, I am going to do a bit of a hadgery job here. I'm going to turn it the right way.
Kit bashing.
Yes, kit bashing it. Well, it wants you to kit bash on the instructions. So, guys, hopefully I'm keeping you entertained with my slight fails, my laughs.
Right.
Slight, yes. I'm going to say slight because the instructions didn't really help me, did it?
You put the cat into catastrophe. You might want to cut your braces first.
No, because I'll get this glued and it'll stick because this is really good stuff, isn't it? If it had been PVA, then yeah, I would have... So, let's get this stuck down. Now, guys, I'm just going to say to you guys, you've just imagined it. Really, I bent the card the right way. And as you can see, it's bent upwards and it's perfectly fine. Don't look at the glue line. This was all an optical illusion. Now, I still do have some slight attachment here, so I'm just going to...
She does have someone looking over her shoulder thinking, what a load of bull poo.
It's a mind trick, dear. It was all done for effect.
We're near that cow field again, aren't we? I can smell it.
So luckily, guys, this one was still slightly attached. I have added a bit of extra glue just to make sure. Yeah, see, Flymo, what repair?
Don't do that, Flymo. Don't do it, dude.
Just makes building the next kit better. Slight problem, Finnison. Did you not see my tunnel one? That didn't exactly go too well either. So I think it's, if I ever have to build these kits again, but it just seems at the moment I'm getting different instructions on each one. So
Yeah, good job you're not
showing it
showing
on YouTube or something.
score points.
Well, we did say to you guys, let's be honest, we would be honest about it and show you all our mistakes and all our good bits. So what I'm actually thinking of using here, guys, oh no, it's just a bit too tall, unfortunately. I'm just going to cut this down. This was 2 of the waste bits. So what I'm going to look at doing is using these as my braces, using that line to cut off so it's in line to where it should be. So as I said, it actually wants you to kit that because it says you use scrap. So if you find the instructions and go, oh, spare bits, definitely keep your spare bits. This only proves the fact that keeping all your extras, because I don't know if anyone else has had it where you're putting stuff in the bin just as you're building and someone comes and empties that bin before you've even finished. And if you've just been throwing all your bits in there and suddenly need them, so yes, I think at least we can provide some comedy for you guys. And that's what we're here for. And just don't do it like me. And just, I've missed obviously a couple of... yeah, I think it's something that can be put right. No, that's very true. Cutting away from your hand. Timber, not necessarily always. Dragon, wherever you said you will get my car thinks after a while. Yeah, I think the problem is because with all 3 different kits, there we go, guys, we have a brace there. I'm making sure it's level so it doesn't affect my roof. I've cut them from the same point as well, so this hopefully should not affect the roof height as well. But their mindset, I think, oh, I thought after doing the fire station, I thought, yes, it would be brilliant. Oh, sorry, guys, low power mode there. But I think definitely the mindset, I'm finding it a bit easier, but I think what might throw you a bit, and it certainly has me, is obviously different kits are at different stages. Oh, I didn't glue the underside. Yeah, different kits are at different stages of obviously them listening to people and how they've built it. So the instructions have changed over time. I might do a little comparison on that actually for people. But the first instructions for tunnel were very basic to the point, you know, there wasn't printed bits. So if you were gluing to a certain bit, I messed up. Surprise, surprise. Because I was actually gluing on what I thought was for card support like this. But in fact, what I should have been gluing was the printed bit. So they have listened to people. You can see as the instructions have developed, and I suppose that's what it is nice to see. They have obviously listened to people. I believe others have said they're very good at that. They've listened to people's thoughts and opinions onto these kits, even down to the instructions. I think it's just thrown me every time to see slightly different instructions. The oldest set for sure definitely did throw me completely, because I'd had the newest and then I went to the oldest, so it was definitely throwing. But I think maybe other people would start with things like tunnels first rather than the fire station. So here is my fix, guys. I followed the instructions to a T. I've folded my support up and braced it with waste card, and that's all it's ever going to be. So I'm just going to look at getting this Nave roof stuck on. Rob, just bear with me 2 seconds, guys. Where are you? All I've got is that and that, and then it's attaching together.
Okay.
But I might need my charger, please. But all the kits are built basically the same. Yeah, I'm finding they are very similar. It's just the instructions that have thrown me a bit. Just let's open a few vacuum bags. Oh dear. But yeah, I definitely learned very quick just to hold on to the bits. Bead both sides. Yeah, I realise after dragging I've done that one and that one now. Rob, it's a really good picture. What camera? Timber, it's actually my phone that I'm using. My iPhone. I do an older iPhone usually when I stream with my portraits. But I've not signed into that one yet. But it's just an iPhone that I'm using. Hopefully put the side up. And thank you. Unfortunately, Stuart, where's my fast charger, is it?
I'm charging my head.
Oh, I'm with you. Oh, great. So I did pick a toughie then. A church in the pub. Well, better to get it over with now. I always throw myself in at the deep end, don't I? But I do think, unfortunately, I'm not sure they're going to change the instructions, Stuart. It was something, doing that tunnel, I did struggle a bit. We did speak to him, finding out where it was on the kit. But being that it's one of the older sets, there's been 2 updates since. I don't have a feeling that it's something they're going to change. Possibly it's just going to cost too much. This is one of the reasons, at least by doing this live. If somebody is building it, maybe they can build it along with me. And they might find out these mistakes as I'm doing it, or like me, got a chance to save it. So what's another cheat? Sorry, Timber. But yeah, definitely use your phone. The cameras on phones nowadays are really going well, aren't they? So right, so roof is fixed on top. A grey card stinging out is guttering. And it's very important that the ends line up exactly. I'm assuming that's for when we put them together after, so. Now we have a reshape, but it's only once that's in. I'm just going to make sure I get this right, guys, before I move on to the next bit and potentially stuff up. So it does mention that the side is left for guttering, which when you put your supports down, the only thing it does mention is making sure it is lined up. That is your most important thing, is the lining up of this. So that's why I suppose it's going to get fiddly. So I'm just going to try and quickly glue. I want 3 or 4 cameras. Timber, I'm very lucky. I've got my old iPhone. Obviously, both me and Rob are iPhones anyway. So I suppose we've got both of them. Most of our shooting is via the iPhone. Rob's got a newer one. I have an older one and the one I currently use. Well, we are iPhone users, and I suppose wish the cameras would come on a little bit quicker, like other phone brands. We do like our iPhones, so guys, I'm just trying to get this glued before it dries. So the only thing is this card glue does dry quicker than PVA. So for bigger items like this, it can be a pain and feel like you're rushing. So again, if I go out of view, I do apologise. I'm just trying to get this glued quick, and I can see bits that are drying. I did apply it quite generously. So let's go and get this stuck on. I've got to be very careful not to get it on my fingers now. So again, we have a slight play. Let's try and get this as even as we can. And you've got your guttering either side, and it is lined up. So that's slightly out of line, so I will just give that a quick push back. Just to try and make it glue in line. Now, obviously, some parts have dried, so I am going to go back. Put a rectangular support in, Grace. It will square up triangle. It is already in, John. It's already built in. That's gone on top. No, for some reason, has it moved slightly. This is just my wonky gluing, I suppose. We've got SLRs as well, just for our photography side of things, but it's not something we've really looked at doing. Oh, timber, only half an hour, geez, maybe it's a battery saving thing. But maybe it's something as the channel and that develops, we can look as well at multiple camera angles, especially when we get into the actual shed, doing a bit more, hopefully. We can get multiple views set up. I know it is possible, but I think some parts it's involving programming and things like that as well, so. I do have a friend I can ask. As I said, we just do it off of phones to start with, mainly as well, especially when it's just me here at the desk. We don't really need all the big cameras and things. It's maybe in the summer and we can get into the shed a bit more. That's something maybe we can look at doing. Yeah, exactly, Flymo. It became a big thing. Films people have actually made using their iPhones. But as we have said, that's for one downfall with iPhones. It's the actual cameras. Others are kind of coming above them at that point, sadly. So guys, I'm just tidying up this roof now. Some parts haven't glued down as well as I hoped. That's probably due to my dodgy supports. Let's see, we are ready with that now. And then I think we're actually, it's attaching it to our building with our fabulous stained glass windows. They seem to go a bit more successful than other things, so just having a go at fitting this in now, guys. Making sure it's all lined up. So obviously you do have the gaps either side for the guttering. Let's just make sure that is tightly up against the end. So a bit more gluing, guys. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, I think we have too many cameras, don't we, Rob? But you never know, as things develop, it might be that the DSLRs come out to play a little bit more. So the next stage is getting my roof onto the actual Nave itself. So we're just going to get that tightly secured at the end, because there is no support there for that one. It sits on top of these supports, so I'm just going to put my dabs of glue there, just so it's got these supports to stay stuck on. Again, I think the only thing I'm still not quite there with the rocket glue, making sure that it's dried enough. But I'm sure as time goes on, I will get a lot better with it. So your best option is to just slide it in. And then just make sure you push down on your support, so make sure it's all stuck, and this is right at the end as well. See, this is a great thing, guys, you know, for those with your channels, you know, phones nowadays, the cameras have gone on so well, and especially with things like YouTube, especially the lives, they integrate really well with the phones. And Sir Alan, yes, don't worry, I've made sure reading that, it's all flush, and that is pushed right up to the end. And I made sure that my roof as well was flush with it as well, because I know the next part is fitting it together. So oh dear, I've got a real tickle on my throat. So you've got your inner wall strips as well. That's something I think I will sort. Oh, I don't know where they are. Just bear with me 2 sets, guys. That is the only problem, is finding them. So I have some that looks like it here. However, not aligned which they are. That's the only problem. Inner wall strips. I'm not sure if those are the ones, because you have the corner as well. It'll be easier once I use more, won't it? Have less to look and choose from. Oh, I can't see it actually. Where is my... That's the porch. Ah. There we go. Nave. There's a lot of Nave and... So we have our strips here as well for either end. I'm assuming one side comes on after though. Typical, isn't it? And onto the other sheet, which I suppose is not a bad thing after. It only mentions this for weird thing. The nave and chancel, there's the inner upper walls. So I'm assuming it's this one for that corner. And then we've got longer. That's the only thing. It is still lined a little bit funny as well. So Anybody stop me before it's too late. So Nave inner upper wall is, I'm assuming, for this section here. The other will come later. It is only one. Do the long inner bits first. Yeah, I was just getting this one out while I had it, just so I don't lose the sheet, Jerry. I'm not going to glue it on first, don't worry. It's just purely why I found it on the sheet. I'm just going to get it cut out ready, because I always seem to go blind when it comes to finding them on the sheet. So don't worry, it's not getting glued on first. I suppose just getting it cut out the way, ready to go on, so I don't look like an idiot trying to find it again. Okay, so that one is ready for there, but that is not going on yet, don't worry. Oh, John, don't worry. This is what I love about the chat. You know, I know cutting out things isn't really exciting. So by having, you know, that conversation is always a good way for people to see. This is the thing. I've got 2 different sizes now. And often so, oh, but it doesn't tell me what this one over here is. Unless it's the, no. So that's for Norfolk and South Isle. Chancellor Wall. No, it's not that. Nave and Chancellor. Let's make sure. Isle upper wall. So it isn't that. Ah. Nave and Chancellor upper inner sidewall strips. There we go. I was cutting it out while I found it. So if you see me, Jerry, going wrong, please let me know. No, I'm not sure what that is. They're shorter ones. Unless... oh, it's doing it as a curve. Well, I've just lost that bit. Where's it gone? Over there. So, don't worry, I'm not gluing it on yet. That is going to go in after we've put in the sidewalls. Just make sure, unfortunately, it's cut both sets off. So if anybody finds me looking for the chancel upper inner sidewall strips, let me know that they are separate and they've completely separated now. Oh, missed. So just for sizing, that one is going to sit nicely in there. So I've definitely got the right ones. These are the only ones that aren't labelled as well, but I have to make sure I keep these because they have compartments. That's the only thing, you're not building them yet, so to build them together to be cut off is a little bit, just be careful when you're cutting them off. Just do a cut through here. So the other two come apart, but this one hasn't. Very gently, just getting it apart there. So these are going to go in here like that. However, I might get the tweezers out for this bit, because I've noticed it's not quite flush at the top. So I'm going to have to attach it and then make sure it's flush with the top. Yeah, pushed up to the end wall, so we'll go back with that and make sure they are where they need to be. Jason, did I say hello? I'm not sure if I did. But why did I say that? I saw something about the fact that you drive a train but not a car. Well, I don't drive a car, but I drive people up the wall very well. Does that count? So I am using my tweezers for this one just because you have to bring that wall up. Oh, that's really not liking me. It's like you see those ghost hunters, isn't it? There with the... So I'm just going to push this down ever so gently just to make sure it stays lined up. Because the only thing is there is a gap in the bottom, so it's making sure that stays lined up and doesn't go too far down. There's a slightly slip there. I've got a little bit of manoeuvrability just to get it back up. There we go, that's the first one done. Jason, I'm glad you've had a good day, so. Craig's at the B&B 5 minutes away from my house. Oh dear. Is that going to be like a midnight knock on the door? Sorry, I'm going to have to re-watch some of the live. Jason, obviously with the folks still here, it got a bit mad and we had to go and get everyone tea, so we'll have to catch back some of that. I'm just going to make sure it's lined up at the top. And again, I would make sure this lining is so important here so it doesn't overlap. Otherwise you lose that line that it wants you to. So those just hide that awful grey material. I've got a last one to do, and then I think it's just attaching it together. And that will be it for the night. So just this one to go on, guys. Yeah, like you said, alum capstones hide all that, so it's really good how they even think of this. They build with support, but leave it so it's... They really do think about these things when building the kits as well. It's not like a half-done job, is it? They really have thought about these, which I think everyone can appreciate. Again, just making sure it's all lined up where you've got those few seconds before you lose that movement. That one is done. Grace, plod on for a bit if you want. What do you mean? Oh, I keep note. We've done the first booklet, guys. Literally sorted the first booklet out, so that's something. If I'm gonna rob, then maybe you want to come down for a minute. But we are going to fit the nave to the tower. So, as you can see, guys, why we waited to continue was because of getting this stained glass window in. So, that was why we waited for the kit. Otherwise, it would have been more difficult. But again, if anybody else has already built this kit and likes the look of the stained glass windows, Jason at Barnabas Junction actually did a live of removing them and replacing them. I was just lucky that we found out before I'd even really started, so. So the next part is just getting this all together. And as you can see, that fits really well together. Oh, fair enough, Rob. That better, it's just getting a bit harder to see, isn't it? So as you can see, this little latch here, it does actually work nicely to that. So that is, we're just going to get everything glued up. Sorry. Yeah, I think after I've sorted this, guys, that's going to be me done for the night. But we got through this next bit in the kit. It seems, I think I'm looking at doing a bit each time. I think next time is the chancel and altar. So we are getting there slowly. But anybody doing this kit yourself, it might take you a bit quicker than me. It is a bit different on lives. If you find yourself skipping through the boring parts, don't worry. But hopefully I've maybe helped someone out from potentially making mistakes that I did, so hopefully I can save anyone from that. That is my aim, and I would be more than happy with that. If it potentially saves someone else. Sorry guys, if this goes off for you, I'm just again getting this glue where I need it to be so it doesn't dry too quick. But I think you'll agree, we are starting to look a lot more like a church. Now, the only thing I did worry was when I was trying to fit it together, is it didn't seem to go into place. I thought, oh no, it's not in line. But it's just like really a little click and then it seems to go into place. So. And yeah, Jason, I can't wait to get it lit up. Obviously, we've not got any lights at the minute. So I think it will be with my little handheld little drill that Rob got me. It will be using that to just get the lights inside, but at least the stained glass windows are on. I think that's for me. I would have dreaded doing it, I think, if I hadn't, you know, known of these before when getting the kit actually built. So, guys, we are getting there. We are getting there very slowly. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, that's a stray bit of plastic, I think. I'm just going to catch up on a few comments. I say people like you now. What do you mean, Stuart? Is this something you're planning to build in the future? This is what I mean. Or in the process are, if it helps someone just making one little mistake less than what I made, then that for me is obviously an achievement. And I know for some of you guys, it's just part of it is for laughs and my little muck-ups and actually finding that I've got ways to get out of them. So with a lot of people's help though, so hopefully guys you might in turn help me with doing this with people. So I'm just gonna look through. Stuart, if your hands shake quite a bit, then Now, I've been using rocket glue a lot more, possibly PVA if you're worried, or how are you when holding tweezers? I don't know, others might want it, especially like Alan might want to pinch in. I don't know if we've got a modeler that's shaking. Do you guys recommend PVA glue, because at least if it moves it can be put together, or do you guys recommend rocket glue because of that quicker sticking? What do you guys think? I think on that one, maybe a couple of people, Stuart might be able to help you with that a lot better than me, just down to their experience. But possibly they might know which glue would be better for you. I suppose I'm just thinking of both. I use hair grips, close peg, mini cloth pegs, 321 blocks to hold stuff. Yeah, this is the thing I've had mentioned to me. You've got different things that you can use. I haven't made any pegs yet, but I've got certain clips, so certain parts like this I could have used the clip on just to glue it together. So if anyone has any recommendations for Stuart here, he's got shaky hands sometimes we're building kit, which glue would be better? You know, do you think the rocket glue because it will dry quicker, or the PVA, so if something is placed maybe out of line due to the shakes, would the PVA be better for being able to fix it, a higher chance of fixing it? Just seeing what you guys think. Right. But as you can see here, guys, I've got a little bit of light now. You think, especially when we light it up, that will look absolutely amazing. If we can use the light down here. So it's not actually giving me enough light at the moment. How's that going to work? There we go, guys. What do you think to that? How do you want that, guys? I think that looks pretty good. Those guys about that. But how does that look to you guys? I think obviously a light will really help enhance it. Obviously I'm just bouncing it off my own light at the moment. But it really does look impressive. So again, Jason and others that mentioned these, a big thank you. As I said, I definitely think you've helped with the stress of doing it after. I'm just trying to show all of them there, really. So I'm just trying to get a screenshot of this for people, but I'm not sure that's going to work. But I think, guys, we are going to call it a night now. I know quite a lot of you are night owls anyway. How many people enjoy videos for a long time? I hope so. This is why I continue to do them. Thank you all for your comments. Well, yeah, this is true, Tim, but no one will see them. It's a bit like when you wallpaper, you notice all the imperfections, don't you? Pardon me, and fly mode, yeah, another suggestion, elastic bands holding things together. When's the next instalment? Again, unfortunately, because of work and things, we're never quite sure when we are going to get online. I'd love to say, oh, we can do it then. But hopefully the next couple of days we'll be able to get on. As I said, it does all depend on work. We do have that other one there at the bottom as well. Obviously that won't be seen as much depending on the layout. But yeah, we will hopefully try and get on in the next few days. I really do want to crack on with this now. But again, it just depends on each day, really. we will possibly try, you know, I don't know how you guys feel to, you know, when you set up a live and it says that you're going to join. The problem is we can never really schedule a time, but also I don't want you guys feeling like you have to sit there and wait for it to start unless people are happy for that, to know that we intend to go live. You know, it won't be too long. It will literally just be, you know, setting up. We know the live's happening, but that screen's there ready while setup's happening. But it could be anything from a couple of minutes to 5-10 minutes maybe. And yeah, maybe the weekend, Robert. I can't even think what day we're on. Yeah, if we can't get any evening or whatever, we will try and maybe get on during the weekend to do one. Just catching up the comments again. Oh, nice. Jason, while out tonight with Craig, we saw the white Hitachi class 805 heading north out of Crewe. Both are in a central place for it, aren't you? And Stuart, it's been very good to have you in. We do try and get it so the chat does stay even on the replay. It's now showing up on my phone. So hopefully, even if you don't catch a live, you can at least see what people have been talking about and maybe follow it a little bit easier. Jason, you're going to be live. So for anybody that hasn't seen that, Jason at Barnabas Junction, him and his special guest Craig, they're looking to be live tomorrow afternoon. And then he said around midday-ish. So if anybody hasn't seen that, maybe check out that live tomorrow as well. Hopefully we're catching as well, but because of this cancelled job, it could come up at any time. We could get a call at 11 o'clock tonight. Well, it's gone 11, but you know what I mean. We could get a call at any point for it. So plans may change. And Del, thank you very much, lovely. Thanks everybody for your help again. Alan, you've been quite good with the helping state, and a few others that helped me out with the windows before it went too far. And Stuart, if you want to share our page for others, you know, as well, or, you know, someone that might be interested, or people in the future watching, and yeah, of course, it'll be brilliant. These videos will stay up, and it's why we've named them the kit numbers. So if anybody's searching for them, hopefully they will be able to, you know, come across these videos and help them out a little bit. So on that note, I am going to set the church up in a way that I know you guys are caught up, rather than cut you off midstream. It's a bit delayed on mine tonight. A final look at our tower and our nave section with those absolutely stunning stained glass windows in as well. And it's now I'm not showing them as well. But there we go, guys. This is the stained glass windows in as well. Such a perfect effect. Okay, night everyone, take care.